Today, I'm walking you through $14 tree finds that customers keep telling me they wish they'd grabbed sooner, some of them selling for almost 12 times less than what you'd pay at a big box store. And stick around, because I'm also going to show you 4 items in that same store that I personally walk past every single time, and I'll tell you exactly why. If you're new here, consider subscribing. It really helps this channel keep bringing you these weekly deal breakdowns. Let's get into it. At Dollar Tree, a set of silicone stretch lids runs about $1.25. A similar multi-pack at Target can run close to $9, so you're looking at roughly 7 times the price for what is functionally the same product. The reason these hold up so well despite the low cost is that the silicone is flexible enough to seal over bowls, cut fruit, or cans without needing a specific size. Many people report using these constantly for meal prepping, especially when they're portioning food for an elderly parent who eats smaller meals throughout the day. The one honest downside is that the thinnest sizes can lose their seal after several months of heavy use, so don't expect them to last forever. A quick bonus tip: store them flat in a drawer rather than balled up. It keeps the edges from warping. Next up is something almost everyone has in their kitchen already, but the Dollar Tree version might genuinely surprise you. These glass jars run $1.25 each, while a comparable glass jar with a shaker top at Walmart or a specialty kitchen store can be $6 to $7, putting Dollar Tree at roughly a fifth of the cost. What makes these worth grabbing is that they're real glass, not plastic, so they don't hold onto odors the way cheaper containers sometimes do. Customers often notice how much easier meal prep becomes once spices are labeled and visible instead of buried in their original boxes. The caveat here is that the shaker holes are sometimes uneven, so a few jars in a batch might pour a little heavier than others. My tip is to test the shaker flow with rice before filling it with something expensive like cinnamon. Speaking of things that save you money in the kitchen, the next item is one employees say restocks quickly because it disappears fast. Reading glasses at Dollar Tree are $1.25 a pair, compared to $12 to $15 for a similar strength pair at CVS, which is close to 10 times more expensive. The lenses are basic, but for someone who just needs a bit of magnification for reading labels or a menu, they get the job done. This is a favorite among people who buy several pairs to stash around the house, one by the recliner, one in the car, one in a purse, so a parent or grandparent is never without a pair. The honest downside is that the frames are not built for daily heavy use, so if you wear readers all day long, a sturdier pair elsewhere might serve you better long-term. A useful tip is to buy 2 of the same strength, so you always have a backup when one goes missing. The next item is one that customers say feels like it shouldn't be $1 at all. A flexible plastic cutting board here is $1.25, while a similar one at Target can run $4 to $5, so you're saving 3 to 4 times the cost. These thin mats are actually handy specifically because they're flexible, letting you bend the board to funnel chopped vegetables straight into a pan. Many home cooks keep several colors on hand to separate raw meat from produce, which is a small habit that matters a lot for food safety in a busy household. The downside is that they do show knife marks faster than a heavier cutting board, so they're better as a secondary board than your main one. A quick tip is to hang them from a hook so they dry fully between uses. Next, we're moving to something a lot of shoppers overlook in the cleaning aisle. These come in packs of 2 or 3 for $1.25, while a similar branded pack at Walmart can be $6 or more, putting Dollar Tree at roughly a fifth of the price. Microfiber works well because the fibers are designed to trap dust and grime without needing much cleaner at all. This is especially appreciated by people managing a home on a tight budget, or by anyone helping an older family member keep a home dust-free without heavy chemical sprays. The caveat is that the fabric is thinner than premium microfiber, so it may not last quite as many wash cycles. My tip is to skip the dryer and air dry them. It keeps the fibers from breaking down early. Up next is an item that surprises a lot of people the first time they check the price tag. A large magnifying sheet, the kind you lay over a newspaper or a document, is $1.25 at Dollar Tree, while a similar product on Amazon can run $8 to $10, close to 8 times the cost. This is a small, thoughtful item for anyone with aging parents who struggle with fine print on medication bottles or mail. Customers often mention buying these specifically as a low-cost way to make daily reading less frustrating for a loved one. The downside is that the plastic can scratch over time if it's not stored carefully. A helpful tip is to keep it in a large envelope or folder so it doesn't get scuffed in a kitchen drawer. Next, let's talk about something for anyone who deals with tangled cords or cables. These little cable clips and organizers run $1.25 for a set, compared to $5 to $6 for similar organizers at Target, about 4 to 5 times more there. They work because the adhesive backing is strong enough to hold cords in place along a desk or nightstand without constant re-sticking. This is a small comfort item for anyone who's tired of hunting for a phone charger cord that's slipped behind furniture. The one downside is that the adhesive can weaken on very textured or unfinished wood surfaces. A bonus tip is to wipe the surface with rubbing alcohol before sticking them down. It makes the hold last much longer. Next up is something that saves real trips to the pharmacy. A weekly pill organizer here is $1.25, while a similar one at CVS or Walgreens can be $4 to $6, roughly 4 times the price. This is one of the most emotionally meaningful items on this list because it's often bought by adult children helping a parent manage multiple medications safely. Employees say this is one of the steadiest sellers in the store simply because it needs replacing every so often as compartments wear out. The caveat is that the plastic latches on the cheapest versions can become brittle after many months of daily opening and closing. My tip is to write the day labels with a permanent marker, rather than relying on the printed lettering, which can fade. Next, here's an item a lot of renters specifically appreciate. These adhesive hooks run $1.25 for a pack, compared to nearly $6 for a name-brand equivalent pack at Target, close to 5 times more expensive there. The hold quality is genuinely solid for lightweight items like keys, towels, or small bags, especially in rentals where drilling holes isn't an option. Many people report using these throughout an entire apartment because the price makes it easy to hang something in every room without a second thought. The honest downside is that they aren't rated for anything heavy, so don't trust them with a mirror or anything fragile. A useful tip is to press firmly for about 30 seconds and wait a full hour before hanging anything. It dramatically improves the hold. Next is a seasonal favorite that a lot of people don't realize is a year-round item too. Small stackable storage bins are $1.25 each here, while a similar bin at Walmart or a Container Store can be $4 to $5, 3 to 4 times the price. These are useful because the lids actually snap securely, which matters if you're storing anything in a closet or under a bed where bins get bumped or shifted. Families with young kids often buy a dozen at a time just to organize toys, art supplies, and craft materials into labeled bins. The downside is that the plastic is thinner than premium storage brands, so they're better for light items than anything heavy. A quick tip is to label the short end of the bin rather than the top, so you can read it even when bins are stacked. Coming up next is something for anyone who loves a home that smells clean without spending a lot. A small reed diffuser bottle is $1.25 at Dollar Tree, while a similarly sized one at Target or a specialty store can be $8 to $10, closer to 7 or 8 times more expensive. The scent throw on these is genuinely decent for a small to mid-sized room, which is why customers often notice they get compliments on their home smelling nice without realizing how little it cost. This is a small comfort purchase, the kind of thing people buy just to make a home feel a little more put together. The caveat is that the scent does fade faster than a premium diffuser, usually within 4 to 6 weeks, instead of 2 to 3 months. My tip is to flip the reeds every few days to refresh the scent without buying a new bottle. Next is an item that's especially handy heading into any holiday season. A gift bag with matching tissue paper is $1.25 here, compared to $4 to $6 for a similar set at Target, roughly 4 times the price. These hold up fine for a one-time use, which is really all a gift bag needs to do, and the designs rotate seasonally, so there's usually something appropriate for any occasion. Many shoppers stock up on several at once, specifically to avoid the last-minute scramble before a birthday or holiday. The downside is that the handles on the smallest bags can be a little flimsy if you're carrying something heavy inside. A bonus tip is to reinforce the handle holes with a small piece of clear tape if you're gifting something with real weight. Next, let's cover a practical item for anyone doing home repairs on a budget. A basic multi-bit screwdriver here is $1.25, while a similar single tool at Home Depot can run $6 to $8, 5 to 6 times the price. It's not a professional-grade tool, but for tightening a loose cabinet hinge or assembling furniture, it does the job without needing a full toolbox purchase. This is especially appreciated by anyone living alone who just needs a basic tool on hand for small household fixes. The honest downside is that the bits can strip if used on anything more demanding than light household work. A useful tip is to keep it in a kitchen drawer specifically, so it's always within reach for those small, unexpected fixes. Last on our grab list is something that quietly saves people money every single week. These mesh or silicone produce bags are $1.25 a set at Dollar Tree, while a similar eco-friendly set on Amazon can be $9 to $12, closer to 8 to 10 times the price. They're worth grabbing because they cut down on single-use plastic while still being sturdy enough to hold fruits, vegetables, or bulk pantry items. Health-conscious shoppers and anyone trying to reduce grocery waste often mention how quickly these pay for themselves, since a $1.25 set replaces dozens of disposable bags. The caveat is that the drawstrings on the cheapest versions can loosen with heavy repeated use. My tip is to knot the drawstring once instead of just pulling it tight. It holds far better over time. That wraps up all 14 grabs, but before we close out, let's talk about the 4 items I personally skip. These are tempting at $1.25, but the wire gauge inside is usually thin enough that charging speed suffers, and customers often notice the cable fraying within just a few weeks of daily use. For something you rely on every day, the small upfront saving isn't worth the frustration of replacing it monthly. Dollar Tree batteries are inexpensive, but many people report they drain noticeably faster than name-brand batteries in higher-drain devices like remotes with backlighting or kids' toys. For low-drain items like wall clocks, they're fine, but for anything demanding, it's worth spending a bit more elsewhere. The extension cords here are priced low, but the gauge is often too thin for anything beyond a lamp or small device. Employees say these aren't meant for space heaters, power tools, or anything pulling real wattage, and using them that way can actually be a safety concern. The knife sets look like a steel, but the blades dull almost immediately and don't hold an edge no matter how well you sharpen them. For something you're using daily to prepare food, a single mid-range knife from elsewhere will outperform an entire cheap set. So that's 14 Dollar Tree finds genuinely worth grabbing this week, and 4 I'd personally skip. Personally, I think the real value here isn't just the low price tag, it's how many of these items solve small, everyday frustrations, whether that's helping an aging parent manage medication, organizing a cluttered kitchen drawer, or just making a rented apartment feel a little more like home. The one spending trap I'd caution you about is buying in bulk just because something is $1. If you wouldn't buy 5 of an item at a regular store, don't buy 5 here either. The savings only count if you actually use what you bring home. If this list helped you, consider giving it a like and subscribing for a new deal breakdown every week. And I'd genuinely love to know, out of these 14 finds, which one are you most surprised made the list? Let me know in the comments. I read every one.